Hello there, everybody. It's Scarlet Rebellia, and I am once again here with my beautiful friend Melody Levy.
Hello,
And
everybody.
we have, as you all know, if you've been following us at all, we've been on our little webinar adventures this week, and um, we just kind of just talk about various different things. And tonight we wanted to talk about um, defeating our demons. So what I mean by that is, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the challenges that we faced, throughout our life and how we overcame them, and even possibly some ways that might even help you. So no matter what it is that you're going through, it doesn't really matter, because even though the situations may be different, there's still a lot of stuff that you could probably use or get out of this. So make sure that you pay close attention and stay with us all the way to the end of our webinar, because you never know what part of it is meant specifically for you to hear. So, Melanie, would you like to start us off and, just tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you've been through?
Sure. I think, well, not I think, I know actually where I've been. And, it's interesting. I've actually, like I said, I don't know if you watched any of our other webinars, but I have dealt with anxiety most of my life. And, I was always unsure or doubting or, it's just something that I'm overcoming at this moment. And or even having really, really bad depression, which is interesting because I just met somebody today and we had a really deep conversation about that. And I, as far or as maybe it was like 12 years ago, and I went through the most darkest points of my life, but also being able to slowly shift and just really, really change by learning and unlearning certain patterns and behaviors and just really facing yourself. You can't lie to yourself. And so basically, with the people that I met, and for me, like praying was something, especially when I was going through that. And I don't know if you've ever had an anxiety attack in your life. It sucks, and it's so debilitating. It just freezes you. It's like your whole body is just bursting with this adrenaline. And you're in a normal situation, so you feel like a freak, and just really being so down and out. And they're like two extremes, because one you're like, woo, super high, one's just so low. And it was just very hard and challenging. And although it happened 12 years ago, there are still remnants, which I'm learning to unleash and let go of. And yeah, definitely being in the right place at the right time. Prayer for me, surrounding yourself with good and amazing people, and also being accountable for yourself. I always came from that victim mentality. Well, why me? Why this? Why that? And I can catch myself sometimes doing that. But now that I have the awareness, I'm able to stop myself dead in the tracks and be like, okay, do I want to go down that path or do I not? And so you can be a victim or you can choose to be responsible. And that's definitely one thing that's helped me do that. So, yeah. What about you, Miss Scarlett?
Well, um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go deep with this one. Um, so I've had a lot of different things happen throughout my lifetime, and um, a lot of it is based on the fact that when I was 9, my dad committed suicide, and I was very, very, very close to my father, and my other siblings, didn't feel exactly the same way. My little sister, she was only like 1. My brother, he was older, but his reactions towards it weren't exactly the same as mine. And then there was just my mom, and then we went through a lot of hardship doing that. And I learned a lot of different things, with having to go through that, but it also actually brought me to a dark place on the inside too. I developed a lot of low self-esteem, not thinking um, so much about um, not thinking so much about, how I was actually just internalizing a lot of my emotions and not dealing with them. So, to cover it up, I would do a lot of things that I wasn't very proud of. At one point, and I had shared this, personally with Melody, at one point I became an alcoholic. And, people are like, well, a lot of people drink their problems away, but it's definitely a problem when you're in your room and you're alone drinking. You have several bottles of alcohol in your room, and you just drink to, not even, for me, it wasn't even to get drunk, it was to drink to black out, to kind of just shut myself up, from being able to hear or feel anything, blocking people out, and, just putting a mask on and pretending to be something that I wasn't. And a lot of people didn't even realize how much I was hurting under the surface, because I would never let people in and let them know that vulnerable side of me. And I just felt so ugly, and I felt so depressed, and I felt so unworthy, and I felt unwanted by the world. And, like we had discussed the other day, I mean, I had even gotten to a point where I even contemplated suicide. And, it always hurt me so much to even think those thoughts, because the one person who had, and I knew what that felt like, to do that to your family, because I was, I went through that, and I couldn't imagine putting my mom through that, or even my siblings through that, or any of my friends through that. And one day I remember, and I don't even know if I told Melody this story. I remember one day I was sitting on my bed, and I just had this bottle of vodka, I think it was, like sitting in between my legs, and like I just started like pounding my head on it, like not even just like and it was I think it was actually like Grey Goose, or like the really big bottles of Smirnoff. And like I remember having it in between my legs, and I was just hitting my head on it, and I kept hitting it and hitting it, hitting it, and I don't even know what I was doing to myself, but I was just always so compelled to just hurt me. And I just started crying, and I couldn't stop crying, and then I just felt so sick of myself that I couldn't even cry anymore. It was, have you ever gotten to a point where you just have had so much emotion come out of you that there's nothing left to feel? It's it's depressing, and it's not something that a lot of people even experience, which they should feel very blessed and fortunate that they don't ever have to feel that way. And I got up, and I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I just said, I don't want it anymore. And I had, at that point, like I had contemplated suicide again, and I was looking for a way out. And then, with divine guidance, I met one of my other best friends, Sammy, and through a lot of just talking about how hurt I was inside, and really just understanding more about where all of this was coming from, I learned that a lot of the things that I thought was so wrong, um, about me, were actually the things that was actually making me better. Not everybody can struggle or be an alcoholic, or to do drugs, because I did that too. Not everybody can hit those lows and come to a point where you just don't want that anymore. And then, like we had talked about yesterday, choosing the higher thought that says you can. Choosing that part of you that says, let's move past that. You can do this. You're worth it. And slowly I really just started to reach inside myself and discover how important I am to the world, and that I do have something to offer. And no matter what or how worthless you may feel, I don't know if anybody out there feels that way right now, but I can assure you that there is a plan for every single one of us. No matter how big or how small you think you are in this world, every single person has a plan set for them. And it's really up to you whether you're going to step into your greatness. It's like standing on, one end of a tunnel, seeing that little dot of light at the end. You know what that dot is? That dot is hope. And you run towards it as fast as you can. And once the light starts getting brighter and brighter and you break through that tunnel on the other side, you have no idea how good it feels to come out victorious. You don't know how good it's going to feel to break free of your addictions. You don't know how good it's going to feel when you're free. And I can tell you, I've had a lot of moments like that where I've just been stuck and I didn't feel like I deserved anything but the worst. Like, if bad things happen to me, I would think to myself, well, no, I deserve it. But truth of the matter is I don't deserve bad things. I deserve to have a good life. I deserve to have the things that I want to dream about. Nobody honestly can tell me that I don't deserve those things, because those people have not lived my life. So even if you go after your dreams and people make fun of you for it, who cares? Because at the end of the day, their opinions aren't going to matter if you become great. No matter what, there's always going to be people out there watching you. And it's up to you whether you're going to take those steps. Just step outside of your comfort zone, lift yourself up, and really defeat your demons. Tell yourself that you are better than what you have become, and step out of that darkness into the light. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy, but I can assure you that if you do, it's worth it. Like, I mean, even in a super general sense, most people, they go to school, they go to school, get a good job, and then they work for X amount of years, and then they retire. And there's other routes that are available to people, right? Like, me and Melody, we always kind of link all of our things back to, our online business and stuff, but people don't realize that even though let's say you make good money, there's ways for you to make good money and not have to bust your hump for 8, sometimes even 12 hours in a day. And people don't realize that you can do that, right? So with our business, you most definitely can do whatever it is you choose to do in your spare time, work part-time, and still make, a substantial amount of money. I mean, a lot of the people that we have, a lot of the leaders that we have on our teams, they go on trips or they just work part-time. They pretty much do come and go as they please. And all they do is they do their due diligence, they put in their time where there needs to be time, and then they just keep it moving. And it feels so good to be free. We have like a whole bunch of different stories from all of the leaders on the team, but we always talk about our friend Kyala and how he went from being super broke to just changing his decisions and saying he was good enough, and now he's one of the more respected leaders in Empower Network. It's an amazing transformation, and he did it in under 2 years. It's it's not as hard as you think it is to really defeat the demons that live inside of you. And you know what I mean by demons are the things that live inside of you that tell you you're not worthy, or that they tell you that you're not good enough, or there's nothing inside of you that's worth anything to the world. Those are the demons that you need to defeat. And that those are the same things that stop people from going after their dreams. And we both have decided that we're not going to allow those things to hold us back. Not anymore. With like Melody's anxiety and stuff like that, she could have took the easy route and just decided to hop on all kinds of drugs and just stay drugged out for years on end. But she didn't want that for herself. Why? Because she knew there was deep down inside there was more to her life than that. And she didn't let it determine her outcome. She wanted more out of her life. And if you want more out of your life, you have to do something about it. You can't sit and wait for life to just
unfold.
Yeah. Can you think of any other things or experiences that you have, Melody? It doesn't have to be as heavy or deep, but I mean, just any other shares.
Definitely. I mean, I can even talk about relationships and stuff like that too, and how maybe the relationship I have with myself and the relationships I had with men, because I would always sabotage those relationships due to not being able to trust them. And that's another demon too. It's like a learned behavior. It is also, I can choose to be like, oh, men are this, that, dogs, that, blah, 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 because my first boyfriend cheated on me, and I had some complex with men, and I can go ahead and say those things and continually believe them. But is that going to get me to the healthy, loving relationship that I want to have? No. So am I going to choose to be a victim to that, or am I going to choose to change? And so for me, like choosing to change and shift from that, and then also, I mean, things like, when I was in a relationship, being codependent, I would never show it, on the outside because I wore a mask. But in the inside, I had to be honest and real with myself. And that's something that I had to do and unlearn, and then just really knew, like I knew inside, even when I was in my last relationship, that it's like I can't lie to myself. And I am basing my happiness on something external. So to really go in deep, and sometimes you just got to be honest with yourself to just diminish those demons that you have, and also choosing to choose that higher thought for yourself. Because I'm not going to lie, I go back and forth sometimes too. It's like, wait, but can that really happen? Can I really meet so-and-so? And can I really have this and that? Like Scarlett was explaining earlier. And that's the ego. That's the voice telling you, no, that's too good to be true. But it's not, and that's what fighting those demons are, and fighting those forces of evil that tell you doubts, that tell you things like, and just really pulling through that. And putting your shield of armor on, really, and just going for it, because it's harder to stay. It takes more energy to stay where you're at than, to go over this hump where it's like you're afraid, but you do it anyway. And on the other side, there's something waiting for you. And there's going to be another hump and another one. But that's how we continually grow, and we don't stay stagnant. Because staying where we're at is also another form of demons, And so I think for myself, it's like, yeah, sure. Every single day there's going to be, unless you're like super enlightened, like the Jesus or Buddha, we all go through those things. However big or small, or, but just continually, just with all that you have, if you just keep your eye on the prize and just really fight through that, and choose you.
Yep. So, just to kind of, wrap everything up, a lot of people just take for granted, you know, the fact that we're all really lucky to be alive. And, no matter how bad the situation is that you're in, there's always a way that it can be changed. No matter if it's an abusive relationship, if it's self-hate, if it's alcoholism, if it's, drug addiction, there is always a way out. And a lot of people just stay where they're at because it's comfortable. It numbs the feelings, it numbs the pain of past hurts. But I can tell you from proof positive results that if you really want to change and you put that at the front of your mind and you chase that thought, you can come out victorious no matter what it is that's, living inside of you right now. No matter what your demon is, there's always a way to defeat it. And even though the light at the end of the tunnel seems so far away, even if you just start taking one step in that direction and you keep going, you'll eventually get there, step by step. So it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. It doesn't matter if anybody laughs at you or doesn't believe in you. Know that there are people out there, people like me and Melody who don't even know you, but absolutely would support you, and just send that love out there that says, hey, you can do it no matter what, and then you can always leave us comments, below these videos or anything, and then, we can definitely have chats, or, we're here to really just help people and really be open and honest, because part of both of our life purposes are to help people who just really need just that little push. And I'd be more than happy, and I know Melody would be more than happy to just be that person who can give you that push. So, there's a link below our video, and that's another means of pushing yourself in the right direction. There are some live webinars coming up. Definitely think you guys should go and check them out. So click the link below this video, check it out, register, and come meet us on the other side, because what's waiting on the other side is more than you could ever dream of. So with that, anything else you want to say, Mel, before we head out?
No, just don't give in to the darkness and just keep on trudging. Even that tiniest, like when I just wanted to share this little quick story and stuff too. There's this quote that says, stars cannot shine without the darkness, because every single person goes to that moment. And there's a time I remember specifically, maybe 11 years ago, when I was sitting out and I was like housebound because I had that debilitating anxiety and was just so bummed because of it. And I sat down and I remember looking up at the stars, and I wrote it in my journal because I could only see one star out that night. But that's that little tiniest glimmer of light that I just needed to carry me through that day. And I remember writing about it in my journal. It's just that little tiny, whatever you got to hang on to, do it. And if you're not in that boat where it's like it's not like a desperation, then just keep on moving forward. And that's just all I have to say, Keep on choosing you.
Yep. Keep moving forward, and like our video, share our video. For anybody out there who's looking to change, your life, go ahead and click on that link, register, and we will see you guys on the other side. Have a good night, everybody.
Love and light.